Everybody's song has had no words.
Your best ever.
Thank you. At home with the
If you ever think that you'll find a guy.
The winds changed. They went from normal weather to a hellish storm in practically minutes.
And every boat in the region was caught in the storm of the century.
It's intensifying, and it's slowing down, and it's coming towards you.
They can't move fast enough to get out of what's coming at them.
Daring rescues saved some.
And they just pulled me out of the water like a dead fish. Bang, right on the deck. Shaking me, you're right.
But for the crew of the Andrea Gale, time had run out. The horrifying final moments of men lost at sea. Now, Jay Schaefer.
Good evening, and welcome to Vanished. Tonight, a mythic story of man versus nature, and it begins right here in Gloucester, Massachusetts. This fishing town is older than the nation itself. Generations have paced this wharf, watching and waiting for their families and friends to return from the sea. For those who choose to make a living on the water, the work is dangerous, life is lonely, and the weather is a very fickle friend. When it turns rough, there's nowhere to hide. Fishermen have seen things most of us never will. It was nearing the end of the fishing season in the fall of 1991 when a storm so violent, so punishing, and so unexpected hit the eastern seaboard. By the time it was over, boats and men had simply disappeared. Tonight, with the help of those who survived, new and archival footage will illustrate the kinds of sea and storm they faced.
I had this nightmare that I was on board of this big boat, this storm, this rain, this horror, this waves, and screaming for Bobby. It was a sign to me.
Premonitions and the sea are ancient companions.
My mother woke up in the middle of the night, and she turned to my father and said, "Our little girl is in mortal danger. Our little girl..." Just a minute. "Our little girl could die tonight."
And those who make their living in the deep water know that debts to nature must always be paid.
I was convinced I wasn't going to live until daylight.
It's been the same for nearly 400 years. Boats slip out of Gloucester Harbor bound for the fishing grounds of the Atlantic. Though the business of fishing has fallen on hard times, life in Gloucester is still moored to the sea.
Fishing is a bit of an anachronism in the society. I mean, there's very few things people make their living at that's that elemental. You know, you catch them in the sea, in a place where you could die very easily. You haul them on board, kill them, cut them up, and then sell them. I mean, it's Stone Age, except the machinery is a little better.
Sebastian Younger detailed the lives of sword fishermen in his best-selling book, The Perfect Storm.
And in some ways, Gloucester's an anachronism. The basis of it hasn't changed much since, you know, the 1650s. And the men doing it, they haven't changed much either.
Men like Billy Tyne. Tyne was the seasoned and respected captain of the Andrea Gale, one of Gloucester's more prosperous sword fishing boats. His job, simply put, was to take the Andrea Gale and 5 men to sea for a month, catch 40,000 pounds of fish, and bring them all home safely. Billy Tyne was a Gloucester boy who did well.
We struggled for money a lot, and just the everyday job just didn't cut it. And so I told him, well, why don't you go? So he got the chance to go fishing, and then that was his dream. That was it.
He liked it a little bit too much, and it eventually destroyed the marriage.
Before they split up, Billy and Jody Tyne had 2 daughters, Billy Joe and Erica. The couple stayed friends, and Billy, a devoted father, tried to make up for the time lost at sea by inviting his daughters to the docks when he was home.
I knew he loved us a lot. He was always with us whenever he could be with us.
It was September 19th, the day the Andrea Gale was to cast off, and Billy Tyne was having trouble with his crew. He was 1 man short. 2 fellas, one right after the other, said they did not want any part of this trip. Fishermen live by their instincts, or die by them.
One of them had been on the trip before, Douglas Costco. Had made quite a bit of money. said he felt a cold wind, and he felt that everyone on that boat was doomed, and he didn't want any part of it. And this guy had fished his whole life. Once he put a hook through his hand, and he pulled it out and sewed himself up without anesthetic at sea. I mean, he's a really tough character. He was not someone to say, oh, I don't feel right, you know. He walked onto that boat, and he just thought, this is something's wrong.
But dark omens did not worry Billy Tyne. His enemy was the clock. As skipper, he was absolutely certain of two things. First, every day the boat sat docked was lost money. And second, hurricane season was about to begin. It was go now or wait till next year. Every captain knows Gloucester is the perfect place to troll for a new crew member. So he called an old friend.
David ended up on the Andrea Gale through the captain, Billy Tyne, who I grew up with on the same street.
David Sullivan, or Sully, answered Billy Tyne's call at the last minute. And it's a moment his brother, Mark, wants back.
He coaxed my brother into taking that trip. I know it was a bad time of year to go from my other buddies that swordfish for years. But Billy got to him before I did, and he went.
Down the street, Andrea Gale crew member Bobby Shatford was fighting a hangover and a bad mood. Everything, even the shower, reminded him it was time to go. He had 30 days at sea ahead of him, just Bobby and 5 other men. And like the others, he'd be leaving a part of his life behind today. Christina Cotter was his girlfriend. A rented room above a bar called the Crow's Nest was their home.
Room 23. That's where he stayed most of the time, upstairs, over the Crow's Nest. And so he could see the boat from the room up above the nest, and he knew he was supposed to be over there a couple of times, and he wasn't going over.
He had a pretty bad marriage, and he owed a lot of money. You know, I think for a while he had trouble planning ahead in this life. So he found himself in debt and falling in love with Christina Cotter. And I think he finally sort of realized he wanted to get his life together.
And Bobby's mother, Ethel Shatford, wanted to help. For the last 15 years, Ethel has been the daytime bartender at the Crow's Nest, both a landmark and a refuge for fishermen between trips. One of those fishermen was skipper Billy Tyne.
Billy has been a family friend forever, a long time, Captain Billy. And my mother and I asked him if he would take Bobby fishing because he was looking for a job.
In the early 90s, the Gloucester sword fishing season ran from May to October. After a month's trip on a successful boat like the Andrea Gale, even Bobby Shatford, the lowest man on the money mast, could come home with $3,000 cash. But it was a tough life.
He told me he didn't like it. Said it was too much work, but he's going to do it again because the money was there.
It's not romantic at all, is it?
It's like thinking romantically about the factory life. People try it and hate it and leave after the first trip. Other people try it and love it and fish their whole lives. I would say the vast majority do it because they're from a fishing town, they don't have that many options, they're probably not that well educated, and it's the best money around.
So you were probably feeling pretty good about the fact that you were able to get Bobby a fishing job.
Very, very good about fishing with Billy, yes.
Now, Billy Tyne had a full crew. Out-of-towners Alfred Pierre and Michael Moran, who everyone called Bugsy. Dale Murphy, who had spent the day before buying toys for his son Dale Jr. And Gloucester natives Bobby Shatford and David Sullivan, the last-minute addition. Like a low tide crawling up a steep shore, the crew of the Andrea Gale trickled into the Crow's Nest that September morning. Just enough time now for one last drink and a couple of tunes.
There was a weird feeling in the air. I mean, I don't know what it sounds like, but it's the truth. It was strange, and everybody knew it, and everybody felt it.
Sully was saying, if I didn't need the money, I wouldn't do this trip. But even if it weren't dangerous, they just, you know, it's a month at sea in a 72-foot steel boat. No one wants to do that. They're living, you know, crammed in there with 5 other guys working insanely hard.
And then Billy Tyne came in and said, okay, come on, you know, he's rounding everybody up, and everybody was stalling and just, you know, drinking.
Finally, Billy Tyne, the captain, said, okay, we've got to go. So everyone walked across the street from the bar to where the boat was docked, right across the street.
Moments together. So we drove over about 50 feet and pulled down this dirt yard thing where the boat's right here. David Sullivan stopped by the car and he said, take care of yourself. And he said, I'll take care of Bobby. And the captain, Billy Tyne, came by and same thing. Okay, we'll see you soon. Take care. He was the only one that said see you soon, actually.
At this point, everyone's on the boat, and they just need Bobby Chatford.
He said, I'll always love you. And he was weeping, crying, not heavily, but, you know, sad. And he got out and kissed me goodbye again and walked towards the boat and never looked back.
They've decided it's bad luck to wave goodbye in a situation like that.
Perhaps he should have.
As they were leaving, Billy Tyne made one last call to his ex-wife. He said,
I love you, which was always what he said to me. Tell the kids I love them and I miss them, and I'll see them soon.
And with that, the Andrea Gale set out to sea.
ABC News vanished, lost at sea. We'll continue in a moment.
For everything she's been, everything she is, and everything you'll be together. The 3-stone anniversary ring. For your past, for your present, for the next 1,000 years. A diamond is forever. De Beers.
Eddie, is that you?
Beware the spray.
The spray got you? But you were near the tree.
The spray is like no other. One moment I'm fine, the next my roots are like mush.
Roundup. No root, no weed, no problem.
What did you want to be when you were growing up? Claire wanted to be the protector of the world. Now her world consists of school plays and sick days. Ford Windstar to the rescue. Windstar earned the government's highest rating in both front and side impact crash tests. And every Windstar comes with a coupon for up to $35 toward a child safety seat from Kmart. Hey, Claire, you are the protector of the world. The 2000 Ford Windstar.
If you thought 2020 vision was perfect, ask your eye care professional about the AccuView 2 contact lens. 7 out of 10 who wear it see better than 2020. AccuView, advancing the science of sight.
I love Golden Grahams.
Larry? It's me, Jerry, your long-lost twin.
Wait! I'll be right back.
Yeah, sure. I finally found you.
Be right back.
Everything else can wait with Golden Grahams.
30 long years. So what's another minute, huh?
The taste too good to interrupt. Golden Grahams.
Hey, Golden Grahams. I'm gonna need some milk.
Because our beloved pets can leave odor germs, Arm & Hammer created the first, the only antibacterial carpet and room deodorizer, Pet Fresh.
Fight the little critters the critters leave behind.
Don't let your carpet be a breeding ground for odors. Let Pet Fresh absorb odors, fight the germs that cause them, and leave a fresh scent.
Fight the little critters your critters leave behind.
Arm & Hammer Pet Fresh, the first, the only antibacterial carpet and room deodorizer.
Lonely, hi, Mr. Lonely.
Now Whisk will not only clean your laundry, but also help reduce wrinkles, so you iron less.
Oh, I'm so lonely.
Introducing Whisk with Wrinkle Reducer, the first and only laundry detergent specially formulated to help reduce wrinkles. Whisk. Do it once, do it right, do it less.
Now here's one we know you'll remember.
Final answer?
Final answer.
I'm a fat man, Regis. My heart can't take it. I'm just trying to help you sweat off a few pounds.
Relive the shows that made television history. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Tomorrow on ABC.
Wednesday, he was the best they'd ever seen, bringing down notorious drug dealers one after the other. Then, one wrong move changed everything. What was he hiding about himself that may end up setting drug... Wednesday.
ABC News vanished. Lost at Sea continues. Once again, Jay Shaler.
It was late September when the Andrea Gale left here, steaming toward Nova Scotia. The sword fishing season was drawing to a close. Rough weather would be coming on soon. But the economic pressures of this business can be as ruthless as the weather. You don't collect a paycheck without catching the fish. So sometimes you weigh the risks, take your chances. You go out a little farther, fish a little longer. That's what the crew of the Andrea Gale chose to do. And if they were lucky, they'd bring home a record catch and beat the clock that was ticking toward hurricane season. Billy Tyne loved the sea. From the deck of the Andrea Gale, he'd take photos of sunsets and send them back home, back to his family.
I went fishing with him once, and he kept going to me, "Isn't this just beautiful? It's so perfect out here." It's like a natural high for a fisherman.
He always sent us postcards or souvenirs or brought something back from wherever he visited.
There was plenty of time to take pictures. Sword fishermen usually travel a week just to get to the fish, then steam to the Grand Banks, beyond Nova Scotia, passing Sable Island along the way.
Sable Island is known by fishermen to be the graveyard of the North Atlantic. It has very dangerous shoals on two sides of it. A lot of ships have gone down in that area.
Linda Greenlaw knows the North Atlantic very well. Greenlaw was the captain of the Hannah Bowden, the sister ship of the Andrea Gale.
She's the only woman captain in the sword fishing fleet, an extraordinary captain. Everyone wants to work with her because she catches a lot of fish.
Billy Tyne and I had a little closer relationship than I had with other fishermen. If Billy Tyne needed fuel, then we would get together, boat to boat, and I would transfer some fuel to his boat. We helped each other out that way.
Each trip, Billy Tyne has to catch enough fish to pay expenses and the owner's take. It's a simple equation. If swordfish is selling for $4 a pound, Tyne has to catch 10,000 pounds just to break even. If he doesn't, no one gets a paycheck. No fish, no pay. That's what fishermen call a broker. And this late in the season, the work is harder and the risks greater.
They're working 20 hours a day sometimes. They're hauling 500-pound fish on board and killing them and gutting them.
The later in the season you go, the more risk you're taking, weather-wise. The more risk you're taking, the fish may not be there still.
They have a hard time finding fish. They're starting to run out of fuel, and the crew is just burned out. They've been working all summer. They really want to go home, and they're just not getting the fish that makes it worthwhile.
Billy Tyne makes a critical decision. He will not settle for a broker on this trip. They all need the money. After 3 weeks at sea, he decides not to head home yet, but to keep fishing. He swings the ship's bow to the north and east, and the Andrea Gale steams further out to the Flemish Cap. This will add an extra week to the trip.
He didn't have enough fish to go in. This is his last chance to make a paycheck for the season. He did the right thing by staying. I would have done the same thing.
And he hit pretty big immediately, which immediately sort of pumps the crew up, and they're working very hard. They know the end is near. They're going to be going home very soon. It's like hitting a lottery ticket.
But to redeem that ticket, the fish must be brought back to port fast and fresh. Ominously, the Andrea Gale's ice machine breaks down. Profits and luck can melt quickly out here.
Ice is essential to keeping the catch fresh. And if the ice machine starts to fail, basically the clock is ticking.
Time has suddenly become an urgent and unwelcome member of the crew. The Andrea Gale has already been at sea for a month. The men are anxious to be home. But home is still more than a week away. Back on shore, Dave Valley watched as nature conjured up a nightmare.
The seas, which may have started out at 15 to 25 feet, were now building to the remarkable heights of 50, 60, even 80 feet. These are conditions that you just don't find out there.
Valley was working the weekend shift at the National Weather Service's Rhode Island Bureau. The storm he was tracking was enormous and growing, and it snuck up on them. The ships that were already at sea could not possibly escape what was coming.
By that time, it was too late.
Good afternoon, everyone. We have an unusually strong storm out in the ocean. We can
Very
see
bad
it
news.
on our...
It's intensifying, and it's slowing down, and it's coming towards you.
Billy Tyne heard the warnings too, but he was long on fish and short on time. He felt he had no choice. He had to get his catch and his crew home. Dead reckoning would send him straight into the storm's heart.
They can't move fast enough to get out of what's coming at them. And that system was just too large and growing too rapidly for them to even have an opportunity.
There's a hurricane coming up from Bermuda, and there's a low-pressure system coming from the Great Lakes. No one realized the two would converge and make an enormous storm. And they converged basically right over Billy Tyne. Billy Tyne radioed that at around 6 o'clock, right after they got hit by the storm, they went from normal weather to a hellish storm in practically minutes.
They were already beginning to see conditions that would, I would think, test the best sailors.
The seas were big. When you're down in the trough, it's a total eclipse of the sun. I mean, it's dark. There's walls of water on either side of you. When you're up on top, it's like being on top of a mountain. And the weather was severe.
The wind would be making very, very strange sounds in the rigging.
Hideous.
It's like a church organ being played by a child.
The last words that Billy Tyne had for me were words of advice and warning.
He radioed at one point, "She's coming on, boys. She's coming on strong."
It was October 28th. The last communication from Billy Tyne placed the Andrea Gale just east of Sable Island, the gates of a deep blue graveyard.
All the electric wires were frying and snapping. There was a lot of water, a lot of broken glass, and mayhem. Generally, mayhem.
No one on the seas that night was closer to the Andrea Gale than Judith Reeves. A Canadian, Reeves was on board the Aishin Maru, a Japanese sword fishing boat, to make sure that the crew complied with Canadian fishing laws. The Aishin Maru was twice the size of the Andrea Gale, but it did not matter. Waves 100 feet tall smashed her windows. If you want to get an idea of what the men of the Andrea Gale were seeing, listen to Judith Reeves.
The whole vessel would get slapped down at 90 to 100 degrees, 120 degrees, and then it would hesitate before it would pop back up again. And those hesitations, you're counting every millisecond, waiting for the vessel to come back. It's in those seconds that you can imagine many things happening to you.
Go ahead, over.
Reeves was the only person on board who spoke English, so to call for help, the ship's engineer handed her a Japanese to English phrase book. It was a grim translation.
We are helpless and drifting. Please render all assistance.
They lost their steerage, so now they're dead in the water. And of course, if you're dead in the water and you turn broadside to seas like that, you can be rolled over very easily.
The conditions were dire and a rescue too dangerous. So Judith Reeves and the 21 men aboard the Aishin Maru rocked in their floating prison for 12 hours. Then, amid the panic and chaos, the satellite phone rang.
I get a call from a radio station.
Judith Reeves aboard the ship Aishin Maru 78, now in grave danger off Sable, is on the line with C-100's Rick Howe.
Here you are, fighting for your life. All these things are happening, and he wants to do an interview.
Are you in any danger at all?
No, we're in danger, definitely. We're in danger. Everything is battened down, hatched, and practically nailed shut. So if she goes over, there's no way anybody's going to get out over. And this is what my friends, close, dear friends here, scared the hell out of them. So if anything happens in the dark, we're goners.
Eventually, the ship's engineers rigged a cable to the rudder, and the crew, using their bare hands, steered the Aishin Maru to safety. But there was an ocean of trouble out here. Up and down the eastern seaboard, rescue teams were responding to Mayday calls. But there were no calls from the Andrea Gale.
Lost at Sea will continue in a moment on ABC News Vanished.
so little time. So, what are you waiting for? Pay less. Doesn't it feel good?
Kodak moments happen every day. And with Kodak Max, you don't have to worry about light or movement. It's the most versatile, all-purpose film.
Look, an email from Vanessa.
Cool.
Very.
What's that?
It's my mom calling.
Why miss calls when you're online? Get free internet call waiting when you switch to Sprint 1000.
Mom!
Call now at 1-800-PIN-DROP.
Talk about a torture test. I took Aleve to my 2-day walk for charity. With my bad back, I needed something that wouldn't let me down. Well, Aleve kept me going all day.
Just 2 Aleve can stop pain all day. It would take 8 Tylenol to do that.
Thanks, Aleve.
And they're sitting there just talking away, and I'm nodding my head. But when I get a little lost, which happens a lot, I just repeat the last thing they say in the form of a question. Like, so I should save my work to a separate file. Works every time.
My Italian mom's cooking is always full of surprises. And so is Olive Garden. Take their new lobster spaghetti. It's tender lobster they saute with spinach and a creamy lobster broth and serve over pasta. And all the salad and breadsticks you want. Olive Garden. When you're here, you're family.
Hey, guess what? Now on Wednesday, you get 1, 2, 3 Drews in a row.
Great. Another steaming load of good news.
The Drew made of Drew. Yes, and for those of you who missed it the first time, it's a whole night of Drew. Stop it! All right, did I say Drew? I think everybody gets the picture. So it's the Drew Carey Show. Whose line is it anyway? And another Drew Carey Show. See you Wednesday starting at 8, 7 Central on ABC.
When Vanished continues, moments of desperation and 2 daring rescue attempts. ABC News Vanished will continue after this from our ABC stations.
Hi, I'm Gina Davis, and I'm going to be on a new show Tuesdays this fall on ABC, and we're trying to come up with a name for it. ABC wants to call it The Gina Davis Show. I think that sounds kind of braggy, although I do want people to know that I'm on it. Drew Carey has a show that's named after him, and people don't think he's braggy. What do you think? The Gina Davis Show. It's too braggy, right?
Gina Davis is coming to ABC this fall. Now we're bragging.
All right. Now, before you pay good money for this property, what's the location again? Okay. And you have enough cash on hand to pull this off? I see. I think you're looking at too sweet a deal to walk away from.
Thanks, Mom. I'll take it.
Of all the things you do for your family, some are easier than others. Shamrock Farms. Thank goodness.
First-time buyer.
Here they fill up with 76. Here they fill up with 76. Here, 76 with Pro Power is clean burning for more powerful performance. Here, 76 with Pro Power is clean burning for more powerful performance. Here, people try to avoid pit stops. Here, they look forward to them. Here, 76 is the official fuel of NASCAR. Here at Circle K, 76 is the official fuel of your car.
Dodge, different. Big savings, just about. Big savings, almost everything. I don't think so. Up to $2,000 cash allowance, most imitated Caravan. 1,000 cash allowance, Intrepid, Stratus, Neon. Big saving cash allowance, almost every car, almost everything. I don't think so. Limited time. Dodge savings. Don't wait. Dodge different. Dodge different. Dodge different.
Watch News 15. We won't waste your time.
News Vanished. Lost at Sea continues. One
Coast Guard and the Air National Guard, whose attempts to rescue others were about to put them in grave danger.
An unusually severe nor'easter.
The storm is whirling in from the ocean.
Winds of hurricane velocity up to 50 and 70 miles an hour.
October 30th. The storm is 3 days old, and no one knows whether Billy Tyne and his crew on the Andrea Gale are dead or alive.
Could have lost his antennas, so he just can't radio. He could have lost his wheelhouse windows to a breaking wave, or they may have just gone down so fast. Some freak wave just drove them down, and he didn't even have a chance to reach for the radio.
All along the eastern shore, the Coast Guard was flooded with calls for help, calls they would have to answer again and again because the storm was getting worse. This storm with no name is breaking all the rules. Defying logic, it has reversed directions. Instead of heading east and weakening like most storms do, this one has strengthened and turned westward, back toward shore, forcing boats like the Satori into a battle for survival. By 1 p.m., the Coast Guard was attempting a helicopter rescue, but the chopper could not lift the 3-person crew off the boat because the storm's winds were too mean.
That would be very dangerous for the helicopter.
Captain Larry Brudnicki skippered the 1,600-ton Tamaroa. This video was taken from the Tamaroa's deck.
We're going to put our small boat, as Rich calls inflatable boat, into the water to go over to the sailboat. Unfortunately, as our boat was alongside, one of the waves picked it up and it crashed against the sailboat.
Now there were 2 boats dead in the water. Rescue swimmer Dave Moore on board the chopper, prepared to jump in, but timing was critical. With swells running 30 to 50 feet high, if Moore misses the crest of the wave, the jump could kill him. The helicopter would have to perform a delicate dance just above a dangerous sea.
They have to go up and down with those waves, because if they just stay in one spot, it's 15 feet, then it's up to 65 feet. So a 65-foot fall wouldn't be very pretty.
You're watching the Coast Guard train for moments just like this, but no training could prepare Dave Moore for the waves he had to face.
You swing uphill, then you swim downhill. You swim uphill, and you swim downhill.
One by one, Moore swims to each crew member. 3 from the sailboat the Satori, and 3 from the Coast Guard's inflatable boat off the Tamaroa. 6 times he puts someone into the basket, and 6 times the helicopter reels one in. The rescue is a success, and the Coast Guard has stolen a victory from the storm.
Then afterwards, when you have time to reflect, I thought, wow, that was pretty cool. That was that thing you've been waiting for.
After the helicopter hoisted up our crew, we turned around and headed back into shore, and we thought we were done for the day as we were headed home.
Captain Brudnicki didn't know it at the time, but his day was just beginning. The Coast Guard can only perform rescues about 200 miles out to sea. After that, the Air National Guard takes over. That's because the Air National Guard has helicopters that can refuel in midair, so they can travel farther. That night, a crew of 5 is on board the H-60 helicopter. Pilot Dave Ruvola and co-pilot Graham Bouchard, engineer Jim Mioli, and para-rescue jumpers Rick Smith and John Spillane, the PJs. If you're stranded and in trouble, there's no better sight than this coming your way.
In wartime, they're used to extract downed pilots from behind enemy lines.
The training that these guys go through is almost inconceivable.
They basically get the training of the special forces. In a way, they really are the very, 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 very elite.
Yet even the best of the best will meet their match tonight. The airmen attempt to rescue a sailboat, but the weather is so bad, the sailors are safer on their boat than they would be trying to reach the chopper. So Pilot Ruvola turns toward home. To make it back, they'll have to refuel in midair.
The weather started to get really, really bad, beyond anything what I had ever seen.
Roger. How many times did you try to fuel?
I don't know, many.
Many. Dozen?
25, 30. We kept at it for over an hour. Yeah, it was about an hour.
That's when we
do it.
They're now 5,000 feet in the air and moments away from running out of gas. Their only chance for survival is if pilot Rivola can race the chopper down to sea level and hover there long enough for his crew to jump into the sea.
Dave says, we're ditching the helicopter. That means everybody's got to get out.
I threw the raft out, and it disappeared into the void, and not a second thought. I sat back down on the floor of the helicopter, and it's like, oh, no way.
You're not jumping.
I'm not jumping.
I stood in the door, and you couldn't see anything. The darkness, the depth perception was horrendous. So what I did was I flipped my night vision goggles back down, and then I could immediately see the waves again.
It was critical whether or not you jumped on a crest of a wave or into the trough.
Yeah. You fall 70 feet, you're going to get hurt.
Co-pilot Bouchard timed his jump perfectly. On the other side of the chopper, rescue jumpers Rick Smith and John Spillane didn't have night vision goggles. In a scene like this, Smith jumps out, and a second later, so does Spillane.
I didn't anticipate that I was going to fall that far.
How long does it take you to hit water?
I remember my falling back to earth and thinking, having time to think, this is a long way. This is longer than it should be.
John Spillane falls probably 60, 70, maybe 80 feet.
And then the next thing I recall is coming to in the water, trying to figure out, why am I in the ocean?
And if you have a head injury, you start to lose layers of orientation. All he knows is that suddenly he's in the middle of the Atlantic in a raging storm. He has no idea why. He has no idea how he got there. And he doesn't have any idea who he is.
I broke both bones in my left arm and my right arm. I broke one bone at the wrist and one finger in the right hand. I broke a bone in my lower left leg, and I broke 4 ribs.
As bad as John Spillane was, engineer Jim Mioli may have been in even worse shape. Mioli had gone down with a helicopter and didn't have time to put on his survival suit. The Atlantic was only 60 degrees, and hypothermia was setting in. Luckily, he discovered pilot Rivola nearby.
I heard him. I started swimming toward him, and we just came together.
I gave him my hood, and he kept his legs wrapped around me. Little body warmth that he could get from me really wasn't much at all, but he was already shivering.
The seas tore at the men. Co-pilot Bouchard, who had jumped with night vision goggles, was by himself, over a mile away from the others.
As soon as they hit the water, I found out very quickly that you don't float up and down waves like that. You get about 3/4 of the way up on the big ones, and they break over the top of you.
John Spillane was alone, too, but in the distance, there were lights. Broken bones and all, he swam 3 hours to reach them.
I realized if I didn't do that, if I didn't attempt to link up with those lights, I was basically sealing my fate at that point.
Because you knew that you'd never have survived till dawn. By yourself.
I felt that way, yeah.
Spillane reached the light. It was a strobe on pilot Rivola's survival suit. 5 men had jumped into the sea. 3 were together. 1 was alone, and 1, Rick Smith, was nowhere in sight. They had been in the stormy waters now for 5 hours.
And that's when I noticed the lights on the horizon, which was the Coast Guard cutter Tamaroa.
Captain Larry Brudnicki had already put in a long day, successfully rescuing the sailboat the Satori. His crew had been up almost 24 hours. They were headed home, and the call came in at 9 p.m. 5 men were floating in the Atlantic. Rescuers now in desperate need of rescue. It was 2 a.m. The seas were huge, and this was going to be a tough rescue.
They were rolling 55 degrees from one side to the next side. If you think of the mast of the ship, when you roll 55 here and roll 55 to that side, 110 degrees from side to side.
The crew of the Tamaroa are watching the men in the water, the men they're trying to rescue. At the crest of the waves, they're above. They're looking up at the men they're trying to rescue.
And then a few moments later...
They're 30 feet below, yeah.
The deck was crawling with Coast Guard. They're yelling and screaming. I got my hands in, they call it a Jacob's ladder. It looks like a cargo net, and then they just pulled me out of the water like a dead fish. Bang, right on the deck, shaking me, you're right, you're right. And I said, yeah. I said, I'm okay. You know, you could hear them screaming, survivors recovered.
do a phone call. You know?
Storm with no name added 3 more Gloucester boys to the City Hall's wall of names. Life and fishing hold much in common. After the winds die down, the rest is silent. Since we first broadcast this program, Ethel Shatford, Bobby's mother, died of cancer. She was 63. And one other update, you might remember Adam Randall. He was the fellow who boarded the Andrea Gale, had a bad premonition about it, and decided not to go. Well, 2 years later, he boarded another trawler, went fishing, and the trawler and Adam Randall disappeared in a storm. This week, the movie version of Sebastian Junger's The Perfect Storm opens in movie theaters all across the United States. And also this week on ABC's Good Morning America, you can watch George Clooney and the entire cast.
What if your car knew you, anticipated your needs, and then reacted to meet them? What if it could help protect you in an accident, with sensors that know where your seat's positioned and the severity of the crash, so the front airbags can react to you? What if it went even further? It's time to stop wondering what if. Introducing the new 2000 Ford Taurus with the advanced personal safety system.
Excuse me.
Pardon me.
I've got to have a Whopper.
And I must have a Whopper Junior.
Well, I need a double Whopper.
We have to save the chickens.
Chickens? What chickens?
Look, here comes another one.
Now that you can get 2 tasty Whoppers for just $2, you can save the chickens from the new movie Chicken Run and eat more beef. Hey, with 2 Whoppers for just $2, you can save a lot of chickens.
The scar's from falling off my bike. Will I get a scar?
I hope not. Treating scrapes with Neosporin helps prevent infection and helps minimize the appearance of scars. Use Neosporin every cut, every time.
Look, an email from Vanessa. Cool. Very. What's that? It's my mom calling.
Why miss calls when you're online? Get free internet call waiting when you switch to Sprint 1000.
Mom!
Call now at 1-800-PIN-DROP.
The Payless Buy One, Get One Half Off sandal sale is going on now. So many sandals, so little time. So what are you waiting for? Payless, doesn't it feel good?
Want a garage that could fit all your stuff, including your car? Well, now you could win one. Enter the My Garage sweepstakes from AutoVitel.com. Oh, one more thing. You could win a house to go with it. Hurry, log on today to AutoVitel.com.
Now, coming up in just a few minutes, something very special from ABC News. That's The Search for Jesus with Peter Jennings coming up right after this broadcast. From just off the coast of Massachusetts, I'm Jay Shadler. Good night.
Tonight, the real story of Perfect Storm hit ABC News. And this week, the blockbuster movie hits Good Morning America with Hollywood's hottest Mark Wahlberg and George Clooney on how they survived at sea. The storm hits Good Morning America this week.